All right, welcome back, everyone. Um, Today we are going to discuss bslib, which is a package in Shiny for R for doing theming. And the chapter number we are looking at is chapter 9 from Outstanding User Interfaces with Shiny, Become a Theming Wizard with bslib. Since this chapter was written, there has been many new things that bslib now can do. In this chapter, we focus on only theming, and there's a lot of stuff in this chapter too, so I'm not going to go into details of other things, but I just want to quickly introduce you to different things that bslib now offers. So if we go to the bslib tab, this is the website for bslib, and you can see there are multiple menus here which let you do theming. So there's a theming section. Within theming, there are theming variables that can control SAS variables and rules. Similarly, utility classes of Bootstrap, and then custom components of Bootstrap that we can create. Within components, this is something that's new that was not covered in the chapter. So there are cards that you can create now without writing your own code with HTML tools. You can just quickly use the card function to create cards. This is what that looks like. You can add card header and card body and make many different changes to card components. There are also now sidebars, unlike in the previous version of Shiny, where you have a main panel and a sidebar panel. Now there's a sidebar, and you can use sidebars on multiple pages or just one, whatever works for you. Then there are also value boxes, which were previously only available in Shiny Dashboard and PS4 Dash, but now you can directly use that within the main Shiny app using bslib. So here are some examples for creating value boxes, and they can change, they can be dynamic based on the server function. Then there are, this is the latest one, tooltips and popovers, where you can, in this nice video, they show how you can use these popovers for additional controls within a card. And you can also use tooltips, for example, here at the card footer. So this is incredibly useful resource for laying out the app. And there's a full section on creating layouts that previously we used fluid row and columns. Now we can use layout columns, layout column wrap, and there are other functions that we can use. Today we are going to focus on theming. So the most relevant update for theming, which is also not yet in the book, is a unified branding across different tools that includes Quarto, that includes Shiny, and I think that may also include ggplot2 in the future. Is this thing called brand.yaml. And with brand.yaml, we can specify theming variables, for example, color palette and font types and so on, that can be applied to all of your stuff like Quarto documents and websites and Shiny. So this is also, I guess, very useful. I haven't tried brand.yaml yet. For Shiny for R, it's not yet available, but it will be, I think, momentarily. For Shiny for Python, it's already available. Let's begin discussing chapter 9. So the first part in chapter 9 is high-level customization and creating a theme. So bs underscore theme is the main function that lets you create different themes with different versions of Bootstrap. So let's see how that works. So here we have Shiny and bslib. And the first thing I'm going to do is create bs underscore theme. So let's first load these two and create the simple bs4 theme where we have a Bootstrap version number 4. And in Bootstrap version number 4 with the default theme, if I quickly look at the printout, it includes the SAS bundle. And we can see there are many imports, as you can see here. Uh, it includes multiple Bootstrap components and other SAS variables. So this is a big output that we see here. And um, in the example in the chapter, they want to change the uh, toast import. So toasts are the notifications that pop up by default on the bottom right of the Shiny app, depending on how you set it up. And this is the import that is part of one of these. And this is imported by default. If we remove it, we can remove it using the bs underscore remove function. And here I'm providing that simple bs for a theme, and I tell it that I want to remove the toast part. If I remove it, then if we print this out again, we won't see this import. And if we want to add something to it, we can update the theme using the bs theme update function. And again, provide the current theme, and then provide the primary color. Primary is one of the arguments for bs underscore theme. So we can change the primary theme of the primary color of the Shiny theme. So these are some of the examples. Let's see how that looks when we run the app. So I'll begin by using just bs underscore theme. So if we run the app, this is what we get for version 4. This is the primary blue color that's used. If I click on that, this is the toast notification that pops up on the top right. I think with this, yeah, I think top right is the default. And now if I remove that and then restart, so after doing bs remove on our theme and removing the roasts, running it again, now if I run it, you see there's some modification to the toast. It's still creating this toast, and that's because I'm using the Shiny Toast R package. And in my the code for the app, I am using the use toast R function from the package, and then I'm using toast R underscore success. So that is generating the toast, but we see that the visually it is now different after we remove that default toast component. And if I further add the primary color to light blue, now we have a different primary color. So let's see the different arguments for bs underscore theme. So bs underscore theme has many different arguments. I think I see. While it's loading, we can look at the different arguments here. So we have the version of the bootstrap, background, foreground, primary, secondary color, success, information, warning, and danger colors. And then there is a base font and the code font. The good thing about providing fonts, base code or heading font is that we can also directly use a Google font as font underscore Google, which we discussed in one of the previous chapters. So this is the same discussion that we just had. And yeah, the another important thing is that we can also preview theme using either the ps underscore theme preview or run with themer function. So if I now switch to that, here we are creating a neon theme, and with ps theme preview, we can provide the name of the theme and say with themer equals to false, which will preview our theme. So let's first run bslib and then preview the default theme. So that runs this app. This is different from what's shown in the chapter because of the update in bslib. And we see that this is the default theme, but we also have this nice customizer that we can use to change background and foreground color. If I quickly change the background color, for example, it sometimes throws errors. I'm not sure if it's only uh, on Posit Cloud, but it sometimes does that. And then if we run bslib neon theme and then preview again, now we have this. And that's because we have black background, white foreground, which is controlling the text color here. Primary color is this purplish color that we see here, and so on. There's also a different base font and heading font. Depending on the availability of the font, it would show up. So marker felt font is specified here, but this is not marker felt. This is a different, I think this is just the default serif font that is used because it's not downloaded. But we can use font underscore Google, or we can use there's another function in bslib that can control uh, the fonts which are downloaded or which are available in the www folder, for example, within the Shiny app. So if I run bslib font underscore, we see font underscore Google and font underscore face. We can also provide a collection of fonts.
The font collection are the ones that you provide in your folder.
Yeah, so if we want to use font underscore face, we use that when we have the font already available in our www folder, because that provides the static assets for the Shiny app. Um, if we don't have the font downloaded and it's available on Google font, we can then use font underscore Google, specify the name. Shiny will first download it and then cache it. So the next time the app is launched, it's not downloaded again.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. So I talked about run with themer. I think I have an example of that within live theming. So again, we have the same theme. And within our Shiny app code, we can keep everything as the same, only wrap this part, Shiny app, within run with themer function, and then it should be able to basically run the app with the customizer. So here the customizer with neon theme, and we can change it to show other options. So these are some preset themes which are also available now. And so every time we do that in the console, notice that we have the BS theme update and it then adds the argument that we are changing. So we can copy that and paste that in our app if we want. Run with themer is only used for development purpose. When we are deploying the app, we should not use this. Otherwise, it will show the customizer in your deployed app. Now we switch to low-level customization, and this is important where we are making changes to SAS variables. For example, color of the font, and we want to use it in multiple places, but we want to make changes to Bootstrap variables because of any reason, because of the theming reason we want the changes that we want. So in this example, we have a font weight of bold, which is 700 as default, and a border radius of 0.25 gram as default. And notice here that the badge font weight is font weight bold. So in this example, the chapter shows us how to make changes to the badge um, variables. So here, let's see. Yeah, this is the example. So let's see what are badges in Bootstrap. So badges are used either with the headings or buttons or anything that where we want to add a notification type thing. So here we have this badge that shows new, and notice how it's specified. So we have heading 1, and within a span, a class of badge text background secondary is specified. And this is for Bootstrap version 5. I have 5.3 version open here. For other Bootstrap versions, we use something else. We don't use text BD secondary. For Bootstrap 3, I think it's only badge. We cannot change the color. So in this example, we make a change to the badge variable. So with bslib, we can directly modify selected variables uh, within the Shiny app. So we have bs underscore theme, version equals to 4 in this case. We specify this as our primary color. And then bs add variables is now making changes to those bootstrap variables, these ones. So badge font size, weight, padding, and border radius. Since these are using those variables, we can now make changes to them directly here. So font weight is now specified as 900. Here, it was the default font weight bold specified here, and so on. So we can make change to any bootstrap variable that we want using bs add variables, and then basically add that after piping this to our bs underscore theme. And here I am creating a example badge using the a tag. And to do that, we provide class equals to badge. And this could be badge primary for primary color. In this example, we use badge success. And this is the success color that we are using. And then this function is only used to show what the badge outside of Shiny. But when we're using it in Shiny, we directly use my badge. So let's run this. Okay, so now if I run preview badge first, we get this. And preview badge has the option to change the theme. By now provided the custom badge theme, now we get this. So it's using the color that we specified and also using these variables because we specified those in our custom bash theme. The previous one was the default one. I have another example for using badge, which is not from the chapter. Actually, this one is, let me see. Yeah, this one is uh, before that example. No, this is with a Shiny app. So it's the same thing, but this is with the Shiny app. So here we are providing the badge, for example, here within a button and some badges in different levels of heading. And we have these different badge colors specified using badge text, BG secondary or primary, and so on. So I think if we look back at the discussion of the CSS and the SAS chapters, I think the takeaway is that if we have a bigger project, if we know that our look of the app will be significantly different from what Shiny offers by default, then we need to work on SAS files in detail. And if that's not the case, and if there's only one or two variables that we want to make changes to, then we directly use that with BS add variables and other functions that bslib provides. Next section is about importing external rules. So we looked at variables, but we can also import external rules, the SAS rules, and we can use them in our app. So in this example, we have a Windows 98 CSS that is available through this CDN delivery. So if you go to this website and then navigate to this section, we'll get Windows 98 CSS. And now we're going to use the same CSS in our Shiny app. Actually, in this case, this is outside of the app just to preview the theme, but we are going to create the theme using bslib. So we run that, and in this case, we are using the gray color for Windows 98. So run that. Now here we are creating the theme using bslib. So we use the bs_theme function, provide version equals to 4 for Bootstrap 4, provide the background color as this gray, the foreground color as black, primary is this one. We provide the base font as Times and Arial, which are available on this machine. And for the other colors, we provide the same gray color. For the base font size, we reduce it. This is the same as Windows theme. And then enable rounded is false. I think this is for the buttons. And then we add the rule. And to add the rule, we use this Windows 98 CSS. So the only thing that we modified within BS theme is mainly the color and the font. And with BS add rules, we basically import the complete CSS rules in by specifying this in a file. So this could be downloaded first and then imported, or this can be directly used from this CDN. So if I run this and do BS theme preview on it, now we see a theme which looks very similar to how Windows 98 did. I tried using other colors, but it didn't work out very well. I think it depends on how we are getting the CSS rules and how compatible they are with the Bootstrap version. But this is a nice example of using some external CSS that someone else has written, never been used with Shiny, but we can use in Shiny by making just a little bit changes to make it compatible.
What does the sprint function does?
Which one?
Almost the last one. The sprint, yeah, with the
Printf?
sprint,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Sprintf, I think that's how it should be pronounced. Sprintf is it's using. Do you know about glue?
Okay, yeah.
The glue package. Glue also uses it uses the parentheses, right? Curly braces. So instead of using curly braces, it just says percentage %s, and then percentage %s is a placeholder for this. So,
Okay.
so it's basically like saying add import and then uh, whatever is the result of this.
And then just paste.
Yeah. So we can also just use space zero here.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
we
will
don't
work perfect.
necessarily need to use sprintf, but it's used in the chapter.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
All right. Let's switch to the next section. So the next section is about dynamically changing themes, and there's a lot of power that we can use here. The first example here is within the basic section is to toggle the theme to dark or to light. And for that, they provide this function where we have theme underscore toggle, which is basically a checkbox. It's within a div, and it has this custom control, custom switch class that they have specified. And then there's also this custom control input. And the reason why these classes are used is just to make the checkbox look nice and look like a toggle. So with this toggle function, the main functionality is that we're using JavaScript. And I think in the next chapter, we'll learn more about how we can utilize this better. With shiny.set input value, we set an input value of dark mode to the custom mode element. So we have a custom mode element uh, as ID, which is this input. So we are familiar with inputs in Shiny, for example, numeric input or select input. All of those inputs are basically inputs in HTML. So with HTML tools, we basically use the HTML input and we specify that this is like a button. That's why we are using the property on click. So with on click, we say whenever this is clicked, get the element by ID and get its value. So basically get the ID of this input, which is checkbox. So we want to get whether the value is false or true. So upon clicking it, we get that. And then the label for this input, an input always requires a label. So the label here is this thing, custom mode. So we can only just use checkbox for the purpose of this demo, but this is a nice looking toggle checkbox. So if it is false, we fall back to Bootstrap 4 theme, provided by PS theme version equals to 4. But if it is true, then we can switch between dark mode and light mode. So here is the example. So here I specify the neon theme again, and then the same theme toggle function. And we first create a default theme, which is just a Bootstrap version 4 theme. We specify that in Fluid page. We also provide our checkbox here, and then the slider input with a plot output. And in the server, this is where we have the functionality for dynamic theming. We first say input custom mode. Remember the custom mode thing is right here. This is the checkbox. So we look at its value. If it is true, then this will run. Actually, if it is true or false, it will run in both cases because we're using it in observe event. But if it is true here, then the neon theme will be used. If it is false, then the default theme will be used. So the default theme is the light theme, and bslib neon theme we have already seen is dark theme. The other part of the code is just plotting. And in here, because we are creating a plot, we also add the thematic underscore shiny function from the thematic package, which we are loading here. So thematic allows you to change the colors of the plot by learning from the colors of the theme. So it tries to adjust the colors. So let's run that. So this is that light theme, and you can see that toggle looks like this, the checkbox. Now if I click on that, it turns to black, and also updates the colors of the plot because of thematic package. So this is very useful um, by using uh, the set current theme from session object, we can specify what theme to use. So set current theme is available because of bslib. Shiny has other functionalities using the session object, which is specified within the function that creates the server. If you do not specify this, we are not able to use it here. Actually, bslib documentation has this example also, but they did not use toggle theme underscore toggle. And to me, it looks a little bit more complicated to use JavaScript here. So I just tried it in this script. If I restart, I provide a light as PS theme, which because I'm not specifying version, it will choose version number 5. And then the dark theme here is also a simple one where I just specify background of black, foreground of white, and primary color purple. And here I specify theme equals to light. And instead of theme toggle, I just specify checkbox input and say dark mode. And the rest of it is the same code. We are again using set current theme, but this code is much smaller than the previous example. And if you run that, we get basically the same thing, uh, except that nice toggle looking checkbox. If I click on that, we get the same thing.
So at the end, it's not mandatory to use JavaScript to switch.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is only used because they wanted to create their own uh, nice looking toggle, which where they have specified these classes, which I think are part of this package.
Okay.
So if you use those classes, then we need to do this because we are doing this inside a input object. So that's why I think. Otherwise, if we don't care about the look, then I think using just checkbox is okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. In the dynamic theme, there is another section creating the custom elements where they are creating this super card. And let's see. Yeah. So um, so if I create the supercard object, which is basically a class, and this supercard will be used in our Shiny app within the supercard function, which is essentially a div. So within a div, we provide the class supercard and supercard body. So let's perceive what that looks like. So we are specifying a box shadow and and providing all the properties of the box shadow, which include the width and the colors of the box, and the width and height is also specified here. We also provide a background color primary, and then supercard body is another class which has a padding of this much. So with this in mind, this is one of the Sass rules because we can write CSS directly in Sass, but the only difference is that we are using this primary variable. If I run this and then I use SAS and provide our SAS string, we see that it throws an error, and that's because it does not recognize primary. But if we provide that within bslib, bslib has that primary color. So that team will recognize, or I should say that the supercard rule here, it will recognize this color directly from the theme that bslib creates. So let's see how that works. So first I'm going to run the app to see what it looks like. So again, here we are using the same toggle for changing the color. So the default here is red color in our light theme. And this is our box, which is essentially a div. And it has this box shadow that we can see. If I change that, now we have the same box, but now because the background is black, we don't see the same box color, box shadow. So here is the dependency that we are creating first. And the importance of creating the dependency here is that we are using this as our dependency, and uh, we are going to do that in both ways, either using bslib or not using bslib. If we are using bslib, then we can use bs underscore dependency. And within that, we provide our SAS string, we provide what theme we are using, we provide the name of the theme, which is supercard, and the version. So both of these are also specified by the developer. If we are not using bslib, but still want to use it within Shiny, we can use HTML dependency function, which we have previously used. And we can provide again the dependency name and version and the source of it. So this source is the style sheet supercard.css that is coming from the OSUI code package. So it's not going to use the string above. And so if I, so this is supercard dependency, and then within supercards, we can now use the supercard and supercard body class by using the bs dependency defer function. With this, we are essentially creating like a card that we just saw in the app using a div, which has the class of supercard, and then inside there's another div which has a class of supercard body. And bs dependency defer enables us to use our SAS string, our SAS dependency, where it had the primary color specified here, and it will not throw an error as we have seen. So the rest of it is the same code as we have seen before. Again, set current theme. If it is custom mode, then dark theme, otherwise light theme. There's one more example where we can maybe use it without bslib. So I'm going to comment out the previous Shiny app part. And then here, if you notice, we are not using bslib, and we are not, yeah, so we are not using a theme created from bslib. So if I run that, now it's using the default Shiny, and it's using the CSS from the package. Okay, so the another example here is conditional rendering, where again badges are used, but to save time, I'm going to skip this example because we have another example which is very similar to this, but instead of using the badges, it uses the accordions. So accordions is another Bootstrap component. Let's first run the app and see how it looks like. So let's see. This is what accordions look like. So accordion has this title, and if you click on it, it collapses or uncollapses the section. So these are Bootstrap, I think Bootstrap 5 accordions. So these could be useful when we have a lot of stuff, but we want to save space in our Shiny app. So in this example, the discussion is about creating first comparing the Bootstrap version 4 and Bootstrap version 5 accordions, how they are set up, what the HTML looks like, and then how can we create that within Shiny using bslib and then use it for in our Shiny app. I think for the purpose of understanding, this is a good example. But for practical application, I think only part of it is relevant because I don't think we generally need to switch between different versions of Bootstrap while we are using the Shiny app. We only need one version. So only part of this code could be relevant for practical applications. Let's first take a look at what the accordions code look like in HTML. So I have that here. And just to compare the two, we have BS4 accordion structure at the top, and this is the BS5 one. So both start with a class of accordion. And in this example, we have ID as accordion example. So you see here the same thing. The class is the same. But at the second level, we have another div where we have a class of card for Bootstrap 4. For Bootstrap 5, now there is accordion dash item class. So that's one difference. Another difference is that within the card div, there is then card header, and then it provides the further detail. So here we have the heading within the card header. So what we just saw there, let me run the app again to show what we're discussing here. So this part, this is our card. And this card has this header, which we have as H2. And within H2, if it is Bootstrap version 4, we have a button within the button tag right here. And within the button, we have some further arguments. We have data toggle because we want it to be, we want to be able to collapse it or uncollapse it. So that's why that data toggle has this property value collapse. Data target here is collapse 1. So this is what will be collapsed, and that is defined below, which is a separate div, collapse 1, and it has a class of collapse show. And then there is further properties. But the important thing here is data parent is accordion example, which is this thing, this ID. So this is the parent of this div called collapse 1. And that is this thing that we can collapse or uncollapse, as far as I understand. If we further look into the button, we now see item number 1, which is right here. And if you further look into this, we see that it contains more properties. So remember that this example is from the chapter, and the app that we are running, it has slightly different code. So instead of this, it should say item 1 content. And instead of accordion item number one, it should just say item one, like this. So this is Bootstrap 4. With Bootstrap 5, the first top class of the ID is accordion, and then the lower one is accordion item instead of card, as we showed here. It's not card in Bootstrap 5, it's accordion item. Then there's accordion header. So we are talking about this section, accordion header. Within accordion header, we do have that button, and the rest of it is similar, but instead of data dash toggle, it is now data dash bootstrap dash toggle, similarly data dash bs dash target. And then within that, again, we have the same label. And then within collapse one, which is this section, we have data bs parent instead of data parent. So these are some of the differences. The rest of the section in the chapter basically tries to utilize all of this information and then guide you to uh, fill in these blanks and um, create the accordions, which you can then create for version 4 or version 5. So if we look at that now, and I'll go through this quickly because it is incredibly boring, but also very, very useful because we can use this information to create our own components in Bootstrap if they are not already available with bslib. But the good thing is that now bslib covers a lot of it. And some of it which we don't have is available through Shiny Dashboard or through BS4 Dash. So here we have the first thing that we create is the BS accordion function. Now with BS accordion function, we create a div and we give it the class accordion. And that's because for both BS4 and 5, the first class is accordion. And then we make changes to this tag. Remember that when we create this div, using this div function, we are essentially creating a tag. We call it accordion tag, and then we can make changes to this accordion tag, which we do here using tag add render hook. So with this, we first find out what is the version of this theme where this code is being run, what is the current version. And if it is in fact a BS theme checked by is BS theme, we then find out the version of the Bootstrap. If the version is 3, then stop and do not create accordion or do not try to create accordion because Bootstrap 3 did not have accordions. Then if it is 4 or 5, then it will catch that version. And then based on that, then we create the heading ID, the controls ID, and the target ID, depending on what were specified here for the heading ID, for the target, and so on. And then we convert our items to tags. Then we switch based on version 4 or 5. If it is version 4, then we use tag query, we take our item, we find card-header class, add attributes, in this case the ID, find the button class, add attributes to that, which is data target and ARIA controls, then reset the tag, then find collapse class, then further add attributes, as we have seen in the HTML code, and then get all the tags. If it is version 5, then we go through the same process, but this time using different names, for example, data BS target. And now we have all the tags. At the end, we take those tags and then append the new items. So the new items are created above, and then they are appended to our original X object, which is the Where was the X object? Yeah, right here. So this is all happening within the tag add under a render hook. So we're basically doing this to accordion tag, which started with just the accordion div. So based on this function, we can now create accordion class and add all of those stuff that we saw. But we also have accordion underscore item, which is right here for Bootstrap 5. So accordion item is within accordion. So accordion item means that if I run this again, it didn't work unless I comment it out. So this whole thing is an accordion, and this is one item, and this is the second item. So these are accordion items. And that's why it's specified here as accordion item class. So with bslib, VS accordion item, we basically go through the same process where we are looking for active equals to false or active equals to true, which means whether this is active or not active. And based on that, we specify a div, include our content, which is this thing. And the rest of it is similar code, similar changes that we make. I think a good thing about this code is that looking at this, we learn how we are manipulating tags to create a bootstrap object using HTML tools and then use them directly in bslib. But I think other than that, just to compare version 4 and 5, I don't think we need to go in that detail if we don't need to. And so here is how BS accordion item function is used within BS underscore accordion defined above. But the good thing is that we now don't have to do that. We can actually use accordion items directly from bslib, which has this nice syntax. We first create an accordion, and for each accordion, we have accordion panels. And within each accordion panel, we can add anything. The first argument is the title of the accordion, and then the remaining is whatever content we want. You can see it's a simple code you created by bslib. And if I run this app, it creates something very similar. We can, if we want, change the color of the accordion, the content, and so on. The only limitation that I found is that we have to manually uncollapse each of the accordions if we want to go to the other accordion. For example, if I want to see the table, and when I click on it, I want all the accordions to be closed. But if I have plot already opened, it will not close automatically. In our previous example, if we run this one, it does collapses the other one, which we saw before. So it does collapse that other accordion item.
Yeah, that's really interesting that it just can show one accordion at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think my preference would be to show everything, but maybe when you have a space constraint, it's useful just to show one.
yeah, I think this is nice when like you have FAQs, frequently asked questions on your app. So in that case, you don't want to look at all answers at the same time. You just want to see one question at a time. I think something like this is nice. But actually, we can also, yeah, this, what you said reminds me that with accordion panel also has other functions for server that let you collapse and uncollapse accordion panels depending on the condition. So if you do want to use that, something like this, I think it's possible. I think that was the last section of this chapter. Anything that you want to discuss about the chapter?
No, no, really.
All right.
That's great to use this tool. And yeah, if you want just to change some color, it's really useful as
Yeah,
well.
with run themer, yeah, very useful.
Yeah, also that you can use the themer with even your Shiny app, not just with the themer variable. So you can validate those variables how they look before making it static.
Yep. All right, let's wrap up here. I'm gonna stop.